Hey guys, what's going on? This is RJ Game News USA here, and today we are going to go over the review scores for Gears of War Reloaded. So, before we get into the video, hope you're having a good day. Hit the like button, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And let's jump right into it. Gears of War Reloaded got an 80 overall on Metacritic. It had 29 positive reviews and 6 mixed reviews. And we're going to go over them, most of them today. So hopefully you enjoy that, and definitely let me know in the comments below if you're going to go pick up this game. So first, before we get into the review, brief history of me and Gears of War. I'm not the biggest Gears of War fan. I like it. I really kind of like the campaigns. I really didn't get too involved in the multiplayer. I think it's a little bizarre to see that another big Xbox franchise also coming to PlayStation. But it's the way of the world, so here we are. And let's see what the critics have to say. So we have a 1 perfect score, and it's from Loot Level Chill, and they say, Gears of War Reloaded is the perfect way to experience one of the finest games of all time, with superior combat and a cover system that still hasn't been matched. Miu PlayStation with a 90, saying Gears of War Reloaded is a solid remaster that preserves the brutal and straightforward essence of the 2006 original. The linear campaign remains engaging with guided storytelling, iconic characters, and heavy cover-based combat. That is so true. PlayStation Lifestyle with a 90, saying ultimately Gears of War Reloaded is a great way for PlayStation owners to get into the series, or for returning players to scratch that nostalgic itch. IGN Spade with a 90, saying Gears of War Reloaded celebrates its arrival on PS5 with an addition that improves on what we've already seen in Gears of War Ultimate for Xbox Series and PC. The same as always. Now more beautiful with better performance and many improvements in lighting. PSX Brazil says, PlayStation finally welcomes one of the best action franchises in its best possible version. Gears of War Reloaded is an excellent and complete package to please all players, especially those experiencing the series for the very first time. Then we go to PSX Extreme with an 89, saying if you're uninitiated with Gears of War Reloaded is simply an unmissable epic that you should play pronto. For everyone else, the suite of technical improvements will allow you to experience Gears of War as it was meant to be. Moving on to Hobby Consolist with an 87. Say the gameplay changes are minimal, but the facelift and multiplayer options mean that a game that redefined action 2 decades ago is still fun in 2025, as it was back then. A great opportunity to revisit it or check it out if you've always been a Sony fan. Vandal with an 86, saying Gears of War is one of those titles we replay here at the editorial office from time to time, and rediscovering it in new remaster has been incredibly satisfying. Worth Playing with an 85 says Gears of War Reloaded is a very solid game, even if the base is nearly 20 years old. The concept of a cover-based stop-and-pop shooter may feel out of date, since so many other games have done this since the original title's release. Then we have IGN Benelux with an 85, saying Gears of War Reloaded hasn't aged evenly across the board. The movement system and NPC AI in the campaign definitely show their age. Even so, it remains a game with a rock-solid foundation that's still worth playing today. COG Connected with an 85 says, sure, Gears of War Reloaded shows its age, but it was inevitable. This by no means is a remake. Rather, it's a solid remaster that updates a classic experience just enough to bring it into the modern world. I wish we had the ability to remap controls. Every.it with an 85 says Gears of War Reloaded is the absolute best way to experience or relive the adventure of Marcus Phoenix and company, now also on PlayStation 5. Player 2 with an 83 says different audiences will appreciate Gears of War Reloaded to differing degrees, but nonetheless, this is the very best way to enjoy the franchise's opening chapter yet. GameLiner with an 80 says Gears of War Reloaded is the definitive way to play a true classic with its slicker visuals, smoother frame rates, and that the game, the same glorious over-the-top action. It still shows its 2006 roots, but with DualSense support and no DLC fluff, this is Gears at its best. Area Jungus with an 80 says minimally improved over the Ultimate version. The Gears of War Reloaded justifies its release thanks to its arrival on PlayStation 5, which is clearly its target audience. And an 80 from Endless Mode, that 80 is the same as the overall Metacritic score, saying there are not very many good reasons to replay any 2006 video game in 2025, especially one with a story that shows its age so much. Even though Reloaded has upgraded just about everything else, but has an artifact of a simpler time. We got an 80 from Tech Radar Gaming, saying beneath all the enhancements, Gears of War Reloaded is the same ultra-violent adventure starring everyone's favorite group of gruff, foul-mouthed soldiers and their chainsaw sporting guns. PlayStation Universe with an 80 says, taken on its own merits, some 19 years since its original release, Gears of War remains a blast to play, only showing its age in minor ways which do little to detract from what is a seminal piece of work. The Sixth Axis with an 80 says Gears of War Reloaded is a blast of 2000s era sci-fi, appearing here in a better shape than ever before. It's not particularly smart or clever though in the modern era, but it remains a hell of a lot of a good old-fashioned fun. This is really all that matters, right? Textera with an 80, saying Gears of War Reloaded brings a nearly 20-year-old classic back to life in stunning fashion. The remaster sharpens the action and polishes the visuals, but while the gunplay is timeless, clunky AI and bare-bones story reminds you it's still a product of its time. Game Reactor UK with an 80 as well, saying I can't say anything other than Gears of War has aged with dignity in most respects, and not least made a very honorable and strong debut on PlayStation 5. Spazio Games with an 80 as well, saying Gears of War Reloaded is a remaster aimed at newcomers, delivering the best way to experience Marcus and Dominic's first adventure. We have an 80 from Gamer.no, saying PlayStation 5 audiences are getting a fantastic game that holds up well and is more entertaining than most of the competition in recent years. It offers superb shooting, a good challenge, and endless hours of fun, whether you play alone or with a friend. Saudi Gamer with an 80, saying Gears of War Reloaded offers only minimal improvements over previous versions, feeling more like a remaster of 2015's Ultimate Edition than something new. While the core gameplay remains solid and has aged relatively well, the overall presentation does not. GRYOnline.pl with an 80, saying it's not just that Gears of War is a classic that everyone should know, the gameplay hasn't aged at all, and in this respect it can rival contemporary titles. The basics are incredibly easy to learn, and the story combined with the shooting provides what the game is meant to be. The Games Machine with an 80, saying after 20 years, Gears of War finally coming to PlayStation 5 with the very first installment of the series further polished, enhanced, and complete with all the content released to date. A few wrinkles are noticeable, but the gameplay is great. CG Magazine with a 75 says, Gears of War Reloaded is a great way to experience the original Gears game with a friend if neither of you has played before. Otherwise, it is notable to see a flagship Xbox title on PlayStation, but the gameplay feels especially clunky in 2025. But why though, with a 75, say Gears of War Reloaded is a fantastic remaster of a superb game that's worth its asking price. Although its dated gameplay and style and execution hold it back, the game still offers hours of fun and enjoyment. And we're getting into the mixed reviews. A 70 from Mirror Station saying the remaster of a remake from 10 years ago, the reloaded version of the first Gears of War is a beefed up Ultimate Edition whose biggest appeal is the thrill of being released on PlayStation 5. That's brutal. Push Square with a 70. One of the most iconic Xbox franchises ever lands on PS5 with somewhat of a graphical thud. On its second remaster, Gears of War Reloaded won't impress visually. Wow, that's harsh, but true, sort of. And then we got GameSpeed with a 70, saying it's showing its age now, but Gears of War Reloaded finally allows PlayStation gamers to experience one of the best campaigns in the previously Xbox exclusive series. It's just a shame you'll likely run into AI issues. Hardcore Gamer with a 70, saying playing Gears of War Reloaded is a beautiful reminder of how far the industry has come and what we've lost along the way. Up front, Reloaded is a remaster of a remaster and does nothing to improve the nearly 20-year-old game. We're getting harsh in these reviews now. A 60 from Final Weapon, saying Gears of War makes its PlayStation debut with a new remaster of the first game in the series, Gears of War Reloaded. I'll admit there is something surreal about seeing Marcus Phoenix and Cole chainsawing through Locust on a Sony console. And finally, the low review is a 59 from Power Unlimited, saying it's a nice touch for the annals that longtime system seller Gears of War is now available on PlayStation. But of course, anyone who has ever really wanted to play Gears could have bought an Xbox at some point in all those years. Gears of War has been well past its prime. And guys, with that is the end of the video. Thank you for your support. You've been awesome. We are on the road to 200 subs. I will see you all later.